Republicans in Congress have taken a beating this week between the drawn-out Fiscal Cliff drama and the decision to put off a vote on Superstorm Sandy relief. So let's talk about it with Frank Luntz, a Republican strategist and CBS News political analyst. Frank, good morning.
Good morning. It has been a very tough week after a very tough 2 years for the GOP. I was with a number of members last night, and while the wounds have begun to heal, the American people are very frustrated with Congress right now. They're frustrated with Washington. They do what Senator John McCain has said. They want them to get along, get stuff done. And the GOP is hoping that starting today with the new Congress, things will be different.
Frank, I didn't even get a question there. You just took it and went. I mean, I didn't have to say a thing. You just started talking. Yeah. I mean, I want to ask you about the state of the Republican Party, because you heard Governor Christie excoriate the House Republicans yesterday, saying it's disappointing, it's disgusting. He said that he had tried to call Speaker Boehner 4 times, didn't get his phone call returned until the next day. I mean, what does this do for the state of the party, this infighting?
Well, it is a challenge, but remember that Speaker Boehner was trying to deal with these issues of national importance, and getting a phone call from a governor, you got to get stuff done first, and then you can do things step by step. Part of the issue with what's happening in Washington now is that the focus has been on tax increases rather than spending cuts. 70% of Americans know or did want to see taxes go up on the richest Americans, according to recent polls. But 80% of Americans want to see Washington stop some of its spending. And this so-called fiscal cliff did not do anything when it comes to spending. And I think where the GOP has made a mistake is that they allowed this to be about taxes rather than the various programs that the American people would like to see reduced in some way.
Frank, back to Nora's point, which about the state of the party. I mean, you had Speaker Boehner going one way on the fiscal cliff deal. You had Majority Leader Eric Cantor going another way. I mean, there seems to be a split inside the party.
And you hear it in the grassroots, you hear it all across the country, that the Republican Party historically has been against raising taxes. But viewers should know that 98.5% of Americans are going to get a permanent tax cut. And that even Grover Norquist, the leader in the anti-tax movement, has said that this isn't a tax increase. You're correct that there are schisms within the GOP that did not exist before, but that's what a new Congress does. And if the focus turns from tax policy to spending, I think that you'll find that the Republicans will unite.
Yeah, but I think, part of the criticism, as you know, Frank, is that here's a Republican Party that agreed to tax cuts but got no spending cuts and no entitlement reform out of this president, that it wasn't a great deal after all.
And the American people would agree with that. Nora, you're correct. And so they're going to come back at this with the debt ceiling and with the budget over the next 2 and 3 months. And it's going to be up to the president to prove, to demonstrate to the American people that he is serious, that this deficit cannot be solved just by tax increases, that in the end you've got to get entitlement programs under control and you got to plan for the future. And that's also part of this vote on Sandy. You can't spend, and this is what the GOP has said, that you can't spend on everything at every moment all the time, that you have to set priorities. So if you're going to spend more on Sandy, then you have to find an offset that you spend less.
But Frank, going forward here, I mean, if you're talking about a schism within the Republican Party, and you're talking about a speaker who votes with a minority of his party on a major deal, I mean, what kind of bargaining position is the party going to be in going forward here if they can't unite around anything?
But you've illustrated the whole problem, and you got to give President Obama credit that he put the GOP in this situation. Look, if the vote had gone in the other direction and they'd voted down this compromise, then I'd be on this show this morning and you all be criticizing the Republicans for undermining the economy, for killing the stock market. In the end, this was a no-win situation, and in politics, you can survive this once or twice before your own voters start to turn against you. So I don't disagree with anything that the two of you have asked about. And you got to wonder, will the Republicans learn, and will they change the focus over the next 8 weeks from taxes to spending? Because when they're talking about spending, they're on the side of the majority of the American people.
All right, Frank Luntz. Frank, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.